The National Association for the Advancement of Fat Acceptance was an organization founded in 1969. It was a group that conspicuously named their organization similarly to the NAACP, but with a focus on fat people. By the early 1970s, there were multiple naafa chapters all over the United States, and in 1973, a new Los Angeles chapter was founded. But this branch was a bit different. The founders, Sarah Fishman and Judy Freespirit, were self-identified radicals. They went to the Radical Psychiatry Center in Berkeley to train as radical therapists as a platform for their fat activism. But the Radical Psychiatry Center didn't really have the authority to train people to become therapists. The organization was started as a group of psychiatrists that believed mental health was better treated by social change rather than individual change, and were focused on critiquing common psychiatry practices. The group had no ability to give out credentials for psychiatry and were basically an activism group focused on mental health. But it was at this collective that Fishman and Freespirit trained in, quote, radical therapy. And it may or may not have been there that they learned to practice a very adversarial type of fat activism upon establishing their naafa chapter. Fishman once said, "Our methods at our naafa chapter was to demonstrate, break into a university lecture hall at UCLA during a class on behavior modification for weight loss and take over the classroom." But this type of radical activism wasn't well received by the naafa headquarters, and Fishman and Freespirit were told to tone down their methods. They did not take this well, though, and decided to break away from naafa to form their own radical fat activism group, and they called it the Fat Underground. The extreme stances of this new group included a focus on anti-obesity research, criticisms of medical professionals for recommending weight loss, and equal rights for fat people in all aspects of life. The organization continued its adversarial approach to fat activism. In an article written by Fishman in 1998, she even said one of the group's mottos was, "Doctors are the enemy, weight loss is genocide." The Fat Underground continued its unique brand of activism through 1973, and in mid-1974, a fat singer named Cass Elliot died, and the press published articles saying she, quote, died choking on a sandwich. The Fat Underground was outraged at the tone the press took with the singer's death. They also believed that Cass Elliot was on a diet when she died, and that it was the diet that was the true cause of her death, not the obesity. However, there's no evidence that Cass Elliott's cause of death was dieting, but her death also wasn't caused by choking on a sandwich. The reason the press published stories saying she died eating a sandwich was because her manager, Alan Carr, fed a fake story to the news because he suspected the real reason she died was drugs, and he wanted to protect Elliott's image. He believed that the public hearing she choked to death on a sandwich was less stigmatizing than finding out that she overdosed. And the story sounded believable because there was already a half-eaten sandwich in her bedroom when she died. But the autopsy later confirmed that it was neither the sandwich nor the drugs that killed Cass, but rather a heart attack. But the damage had already been done, and the press went on to publish many stories saying the singer died from choking on a ham sandwich. But the Fat Underground's members didn't like seeing all the news of the famous singer having died from choking on food. So the group went to the Women's Equality Day event in August of 1974, took the stage, and accused the medical establishment of killing Cass by promoting weight loss efforts and for committing genocide against fat women. The Fat Underground seemed to use Cass Elliott's death to fortify their belief that weight loss and dieting, not obesity, is the real killer of fat people. And this incident seemed to spur even more aggressive activism tactics by the group. Fishman said that starting in 1975, we began a new type of activity, harassing local weight loss institutions. We would attend a free introductory lecture, pretending to be shopping for a diet cure. But when the lecturer would ask for questions, we would attack the program's medical theory and success rate. Our goal was to shake the lecturer's confidence and turn away customers. The Fat Underground's goal in the mid-1970s seemed to be to cause as much chaos as possible and get publicity for their cause. But after 1975, the group mostly fizzled out and was completely gone by 1983. But even though the group dissolved, some of the ideas never completely died. And all of this reminds me of some TikToks I recently found with some equally radical ideas.
I love you. I love you, I love you, I love you. And diet culture is bullshit. Your doctor's telling you to put you on a diet to lose weight for your health. It's not healthy to lose weight. It's not healthy to have intentional weight loss. Your doctor's lying to you. The stuff that you're seeing around feeling better is temporary. It's literally temporary. It's your body saying, holy shit, we're in a famine. And now we have all this adrenaline to keep you alive. And then you go and binge on food because you've restricted. Your doctor is prescribing you an eating disorder. Ask your doctor if there is a peer-reviewed journal article that you can look at that says sustained weight loss can happen 2 to 5 years out after the initial dieting. Ask them for that journal article. And you know what you're going to hear? It doesn't exist. The science doesn't exist. I have a master's degree in this. I get very angry when people start promoting diets in their lives. And I have to go. I can't be around it. I am a fat person and you're attacking me by opening your mouth and saying shitty things about your fat body. Be careful on what you say and what you are perpetuating. Because it's all tied to racism and eugenics. You're being a racist when you start promoting weight loss. I said what I said. It's the truth. Stop it right now. If you care about me, if you care about fat people, if you care about yourself, you will stop. You will stop right now. I had to leave a live this morning because they're all talking about diets and, oh, you got to do what you got to do. And you got to listen to your doctor. Your doctor's lying. But you don't question it because they got the white coat. They know. They must know. No, the diet culture informs doctors, not the other way around, y'all. Think about what you're contributing to. It's hurting people and it's hurting me.
There was a lot said in this TikTok, so let's go through it. But to start out, she said that feeling better after weight loss isn't because of the weight loss, it's because the adrenaline your body feels because it thinks you're in a famine. Being in a calorie deficit does not equate to a famine. And there are people who lose significant amounts of weight and maintain that weight loss for years that still feel significantly better than they did when they were overweight. And that's all because of adrenaline. That's not because of adrenaline. She also said that doctors telling you to lose weight is prescribing an ED, which is also untrue. Any attempt at weight loss doesn't equate to an ED. That means anyone who has maintained weight loss over a long period of time has an ED. Then she said there are no peer-reviewed articles that say weight loss is sustainable for a large amount of people. There are also no peer-reviewed articles that say addiction recovery is possible for more than a small percentage of people. But that doesn't mean addiction recovery isn't possible. It means it's really difficult to make long-term lifestyle changes, be it recovering from an addiction or continuously maintaining a healthier, lower-calorie diet. But it's interesting that she mentions peer-reviewed articles because at the beginning of the TikTok, she says that doctors are lying to you when they say weight loss is healthy. But that's not true, and there are many peer-reviewed studies that show weight loss is healthy if the person who lost the weight is overweight to begin with. That is indisputable. So if you want to be citing peer-reviewed studies, you can't deny that weight loss can be healthy if you are overweight. The TikTok seemed to go kind of off the rails after this point when she said that you're attacking me by opening your mouth and saying bad things about your fat body, and that weight loss is tied to eugenics and racism. First of all, somebody else saying bad things about their own body should not be perceived as an attack against you. And two, there is no explanation for why eugenics and racism are directly tied to weight loss. So I'm just going to respond to this one by saying, no, it isn't. And the last thing she said was something like, your doctor is lying to you that weight loss is healthy, but you don't question it because they have a white coat. Yes. How horrible of me to trust a medical professional with a medical degree on what is healthy instead of Laura from TikTok. But for real though, doctors aren't always right, but I don't understand how she gets off saying that your doctor is lying. You shouldn't listen to them, but you should listen to me because she's fat? I don't know. This entire last section of the video has raging Facebook conspiracy anti-vax energy. All the talk of how diet culture informs doctors, so they've all been tainted, and you can't trust them. They just want you to continue fueling the diet industry to carry on with their racist, fat-phobic, eugenicist agenda with no thought given on how you're affecting me. I mean, how you're affecting fat people. But just in case you thought she was joking that losing weight is racist, she ended up doubling down on this point.
Intentional weight loss is tied to eugenics, which is tied to racism. So if you're performing in diet culture intentional weight loss, especially as January approaches, you've been taught a system of oppression. We get kickbacks on our insurance if we perform eugenics to our own self, which is a form of self-harm. I said what I said. Intentional weight loss is eating disorder. It is self-harm.
Again, there's no explanation for why losing weight is racist and eugenics, but she seems quite convinced of it, and I have no clue why. I searched up and down this woman's TikTok page to find out what her reasoning is for this claim, and I couldn't find anything. But I did find this TikTok where she responds to people who were angry that she was saying weight loss is racist. And she says, y'all need to really consider what you're doing. You're spreading hate of fat bodies, which is tied to eugenics and Hitler. So apparently, a hatred of fat bodies goes all the way back to World War II. I have no clue what she's talking about. There's nothing about World War II or the atrocities committed during that time that target fat people, but that didn't stop her from making the claim. But this woman's entire account reminds me of the type of self-identified radical feminism of the fat underground. The talk of how weight loss and dieting are genocide, how doctors and the medical establishment are lying to you, how society's perception of fatness is wrong and not fatness itself, and how she uses the fact that she has a master's degree to validate her claims, just like how the Fat Underground's founders trained in radical therapy.
Did you know that weight loss for any reason is actually really bad for you? Believe it or not, it's true. I have a master's degree in this.
I don't know what master's degree this woman has. I think it's in counseling or something similar, but it doesn't really matter. You could have 3 PhDs and a medical degree, and I would still say you're 10 toes deep in a conspiracy for saying that weight loss is genocide and racist. But the extreme views of this woman don't just involve weight loss. She seems to have beef with the entire idea of health. In a comment on one of her videos, someone said, "I'm not doing diets, but I am consciously thinking about eating healthier and trying to get in some more exercise to help me since I sit all day." And she responds,
"We are all gonna die."
Damn, Laura, you didn't have to come out the gate like that. Jeez. We're all gonna die. So how about we live in pleasure more because you were given taste buds for a reason? That's still diets and healthism. You weren't put on this earth to be consumed with that. Rest in resistance to white supremacy. You deserve ease. If you want to expand your palate for fun, cool. You want to move because it feels good, cool. But don't think for 1 second that it's going to save you. You were taught that those things matter when they only contribute to less than 10% of your health. You can't diet out of genetics and environment. So any attempt to be healthier by changing the foods you're eating or exercising more is healthism and white supremacy. So white people invented health? Is that where we're at in 2023? And she also said that eating healthier and exercising isn't going to save you. Maybe not from death, but from heart disease, joint problems, diabetes, cancer, strokes, sleep apnea. Yeah, eating healthier and exercising might save you from those things. And in the last part, she said you can't diet out of genetics and environment. Yes, you can. You can change your environment. You control your food environment for the most part and your exercise environment to a large extent. Those are things you do have control over. Laura seems to take the live fast, die young approach to life. Having a long, healthy life is not only something you shouldn't strive for, but it's also morally wrong and racist because it contributes to white supremacy for some reason. She seems to only associate healthy habits like eating healthy foods and exercising with pain, and she associates not exercising and eating unhealthy foods with pleasure. And she assumes that nobody else in the world could be happy by trying to pursue a healthier lifestyle, which is pretty crazy considering she calls herself a health at every size practitioner or coach. But the main principle of health at every size is focusing on developing healthy habits, even if those habits don't lead to weight loss. That's what the original health at every size motto was about. And the commenter she's responding to is doing exactly that. They're focusing on eating healthy foods and doing exercise to feel better, regardless of whether they lose weight or not. And yet, Laura is essentially saying that anyone who does that is morally corrupt, racist, contributing to diet culture, and aiding in fat oppression, just by trying to be healthier. So she doesn't believe in health at every size. She just seems to hate weight loss and health. I can only categorize this woman's TikTok account as pure conspiracy. I'd like to say that it's satire, but it isn't. So let's just call it a wild conspiracy. And I'd also like to think that this woman's ideas are so extreme and obviously wrong that nobody would take it seriously. But I am sad to say that that isn't true.
This comment will be deleted right after I make this because fat phobia just not allowed. They say this is insane. Carrying too much weight is extremely unhealthy. What I find so ridiculous is they were replying to somebody with a master's degree in this subject. A master's degree. And it wasn't just this one person. It was comment after comment after comment that I was having to delete because these internet randos think that they know more about weight than someone with a master's degree just because they're thin and we're fat. What the fuck? Can we call this thin-splaining?
Apparently, having a master's degree means you can say anything. So I'll let you in on a secret. I, too, have a master's degree. And that's how I know that photosynthesizing is the healthiest diet for humans. We aren't meant to eat. Just lay naked out in the sun and absorb sun rays until the sun poisoning sets in. That's the key to a long life. And any doctor or medical professional that's ever told you that eating is healthy has been lying to you. But yeah, the parallels between this TikToker and the Fat Underground were too similar for me to not make this video. All the talk of weight loss is impossible and weight loss is genocide and the medical establishment can't be trusted because they're all caught up in diet culture is straight out of the Fat Underground's handbook. So yeah, that's all I got for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you thought down in the comments, and I'll see you in my next video.